Okay, perfect. So we are good. Welcome everybody to episode 2 podcast of Amplified Academy. So Kelly and we were just going to jump right in. Today's topic, we are talking about the habit of courage. And we thought would be a great one to talk about today, only because of what's happening in the world. There's so much fear, and I sense it. I mean, how about you, Kelly, when you jump on social media? That's been one of the biggest things that I'm seeing happen right now.
Yeah, absolutely. My wife's at the store right now, and she's waiting for them to unload water so we can get some bottled water to take home. And there's no toilet paper. Shelves are empty. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty. It's definitely something we haven't been through before. This is unprecedented for sure.
Yeah. Maybe you and I haven't, at least in our timeline.
Yeah.
And I don't even know, like going way back, because I was talking with a client today, actually. And she's like, I know, she's got her like 70, 80-year-old mother-in-law with her. And she's of course quarantined herself and staying away from people. And she's like, I know that they've been through wars and things that you and I couldn't even imagine, and we've made it through to the other side. Like, people have made it through. And so yeah, definitely, like there's some crazy shish happening right now. And so this is where I kind of wanted to start today, is like, what are people really fearing right now? And as I thought about it, I really think we all fear like a sense and a loss of control.
Yeah, I was going to say certainty.
Mm-hmm. That too.
But control, level of agency.
Yeah.
Like, because look at how drastic things have changed in such a short time. I mean, things are drastically different in the last just 4 days. I mean, major decisions are being made right now. And, so yeah, that leaves you to feel uncertain. And
yeah,
I mean,
and a little bit out of control, because you're like,
yeah,
they're telling me to stay home. They've taken the kids out of school. I know some of my friends are working from home now. Some people are still working, like the grocery store workers, which we love, and I can't even imagine everything that they've been through over the past few, whether it was days or weeks. And but again, when I was speaking with our client earlier today, I'm like, I have one of the things that I am sure about is that we will figure this out, right? Like, one of the things we are as human beings is we're absolutely like resilient in things. And so whether it was like, hurry up, let's stock the shelves, let's limit some things on some people, like I see action being taken, even in like my neighborhood group and stuff. People are offering to help out. So that's one thing that I really have faith in, is just our humanity as a whole, our planet as a whole, to get through this, right?
Yeah. It's unfortunate that some of the fear I mean, I get it. I'm not saying you shouldn't be concerned, and you shouldn't not be paying attention at this point,
Yeah.
I was like everybody else. I was like, or not everybody else. I was one of those people, because I don't watch the news. I still have not watched any news.
Good for you.
I've read several articles about it.
Yeah.
So, and my wife's been keeping me up to date, and she's been reading all kinds of articles. So I'm totally up. And the people at work are telling me about everything that they've heard. So
yeah.
So I get that. I'm not saying to not be scared or feel fearful. Like, this is it's serious,
not have
and
concern.
we should have concern. but going back to that fear, like we
Mhm.
wouldn't be having like normal people, like little old ladies and
Mhm.
you know, people with big families can't go buy toilet paper right now because there's people out
Yeah.
there who have went and hoarded toilet
Yeah.
paper. I mean, it just seems ridiculous where if everybody takes their fair share, this has never
Yeah.
been an issue, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think that's kind of it's a mistake. I mean, I don't think it's necessary at all,
Mhm.
but that's, I guess, why we're kind of on this topic because I feel like I feel like it is solely just fear that has caused this.
Okay.
And so, how do you combat fear? What do you
Yeah.
have to overcome fear?
Yeah.
You
What do you
gotta
have
have
to have?
you gotta have courage,
Yeah.
and faith to know that everything's gonna be fine. To
Yeah.
know that this too shall pass, you know, that we are going to be okay. Like you said, look at all the challenges that everybody's went through challenges in their life
Mhm.
of some sort. Some of them a lot worse than this. And they're still here. They woke up this morning. They're still breathing. They're still working. They're still smiling, you know? So
Yes.
um, we got to remember just how strong we are, you know?
Yes. How strong we are, and knowing that even these moments are the things that even make us stronger, whether, because sometimes, like, I'm like, as a special needs mom, I'm like, I don't want to hear that shit, but sometimes I'm resisting that because it is the freaking truth, right?
Hmm.
Like, this has made me stronger. But let me share something else. It can make you stronger if you allow it to make you stronger. And that's a complete, like, that's a choice, right? Or you can allow it to absorb all of your power, all of your energy, right? Like you said, I could spend all day on social media and be freaked the F out, like completely freaked out, go down in a spiral, like we were talking in the last episode. Or you know, or realize that there are still things that is in every single one of our control. Like you said, like not hoarding, things. Like saying, "Hey, I'm going to go out and take, you know, just what I need right now." As far as like the toilet paper goes, kind of thing. Or, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get an extra so I can give to my neighbor or my family or someone else who is also in need at this time, so
Hmm.
that kind of thing, you know, realizing. And I feel like that's what courage helps us do, is um, have more sense of control and realizing that it is like the ball is in our court.
Right. I always go back to because I love Jack Canfield's E plus R equals O. You
Okay.
know, there's an event, and the event is a pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's our response, and our
Yes.
response is going to equal our outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that that's really fitting, even such a big, wide scale. I mean, we think of
Mm-hmm.
this typically, we're thinking like small events, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
somebody cut me off in traffic, or somebody grabbed the last roll of toilet paper off
Yeah.
the
Uh-huh.
shelf,
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Minor things. Uh-huh.
Minor things, but even on a global scale,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that, you know, in order to make the best outcome, I think that at, at this point, I believe that our government is trying to do the best thing possible to make sure that we have a better outcome. So there's the event
Uh-huh.
of this outbreak, and then our response to that event is going to determine our outcome. And so
Absolutely.
this is a good, based on what some of the other countries are doing. You know, from what I hear and stuff, this is, we're taking the right steps to shut it down as quickly as possible so life can return to normal again. So
Yeah.
I do feel that way, but let's face it, it's been it's been a little hair raising, it's been a
Yeah.
little nerve wracking, it's been,
Mm-hmm.
there's anxiety, there's stress, there's worry, there's
Mm-hmm.
fear. So um yeah, like we said, that's why we want to talk about courage today. So I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Coach Natalia, but
Okay, let's
what
do it.
what does courage mean to you?
Wow. I always love this. Um yeah, like we've talked before, right, in our sessions. Um a lot of people talk about courage, or when they think about it, at least, you think about big, bold steps forward. And I love that because it should, part of courage should be that. But also to me, courage is some of those tiny things, that you do, to just, put one foot in front of the other. So, you know, um, there's days where you're like, this little thing was the most courageous thing I could do today. And then there's those bold actions that you take as well. So for me, courage has always been stepping up in some way, right? Whether it's little or big, stepping up, doing, speaking up for yourself, expressing yourself in a certain way. So I think every time we talk about it, I realize in myself, I have maybe a different idea or something different's going on in my life. So it adapts over time of how I feel, like what courage is to me. So
Hmm.
right now, in this moment, it's like that's what I feel about courage. So how about you, Mr. Coach Kelly?
Yeah. Um, to keep moving forward despite the uncertainty, despite not knowing,
Mm-hmm.
um, to um, be a rock maybe for others,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because it doesn't mean that the person who seems to have it all together isn't struggling themselves. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it takes courage to be that person, who is not going to show fear and show worry,
Yeah.
as much as sometimes the other people around them. Um, I'm like you. It means different things at different times. There's been times where
Yeah.
I just had to like make an uncomfortable phone call with a customer, and I needed courage.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of and forms of courage. Um, but right now, I think everybody needs the courage um, to continue living and not just locking themselves in a room and panicking about everything.
Yeah.
Of course, take every precaution that we're being
Mm-hmm.
told. Um, but it's not going to. I'm hearing rumors already about what's going to happen next week because there's been so many changes so
Yeah.
fast. So
Mm-hmm.
the reason I say that is because I was just talking to the gal that works with me about this, that we're always living in the past and we're worried about the past, or we're
In the future.
or we're in the future. And
Mm-hmm.
the reality is the only thing we can change is right now, the present. So,
Mm-hmm.
but right now, in my present moment, if I can wash my hands one more time, or if I
Yeah.
can, it just takes simple precautions like right now, then that's all I can do.
Yes.
That's really all you can do. And I can tell you, if we just get present and we stop living so far in the future or dwelling on something in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and we just be present, then one thing that's going to happen is we we it, for one thing, as long as you're spending a little bit of time doing the stuff that you value,
Mm-hmm.
like going on a walk with the kids, or
Yes.
doing those things that you value, it's going to boost your immune system,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
you're fulfilled and you have purpose, and it just makes you happy. And as long as you can stay happy, you're going to have a much higher, a much you'll be a much lower risk to
Yeah.
get to catch anything, you know,
Yeah.
or to like give yourself an anxiety attack from worrying too. So
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think you just in that alone, what you just said is like you're lowering your risk for the long term, right? When we talk about high performance, it's about over the long term, not just, yeah, I mean, yes, now, but realizing what you do now like does help you long term. So that'll help again. What are things that
mhm.
you can do? You have a choice right now. You have a choice on what you're focused on. And I love what you said about the courage to, even if you are struggling yourself, um, I think everybody right now needs to have the courage to be a leader, right? And to pay attention to what they're modeling out there in the world, especially right now. Because when shit hits the fan, it's like you can't have everybody panicked. Someone's got to step up and say, listen, whoa, whoa, whoa. Here's the direction we need to go. Here's how we should feel. Here's the things that we need to do. Yes, I understand. Like, let's have some concern, but also um, let's step up and lead. I think a lot of people, this is an opportunity for them to do that, whether it's for their family, for their friends, for their teams, and for themselves.
Mhm. Now's not the time to just have the TV playing constantly and with a room full of kids at home
Mm-hmm.
and just and letting them listen to this and get
Oh,
scared.
yeah.
That's not
Mm-mm.
leading. That's not
Oh,
going to
my
help
gosh.
anything. It's not going to help. So um
So
I
what
get
would you, yeah, what would
yeah.
you tell someone, who's a leader, who's in charge of their family or their teams, you know, what would you tell them? Like you're saying, let's not put the kids in front of the TV. I don't even think you yourself should be planting yourself in front of the TV on the couch, not moving your body right now.
Right.
Um, but what would you tell them? Maybe are some steps that you can take to for you, whether it's your team, whether it's your children, if you're in a, because I believe we're all in leadership positions. Like someone's watching you right now. Someone's watching how you're behaving, how you're reacting, how you're responding to everything that's happening to you. And they have always been watching. And if you don't know that, it's time to know that, right?
Right.
Because we can all become better leaders out here in the world. And so, what is something that you would tell people can help them, on that?
Um one thing I would say is, instead of because the reason I think this is such a great topic is because there's going to be a lot of people at home,
Yeah.
right now because they can't go to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask myself, I would invite you to ask yourself this question is, how would my best, highest version of myself handle this right now?
Yeah.
So if you're feeling worried, anxiety, how am I going to pay the bills? Like all these things that I know people are dealing with right now. How would the best, highest version of yourself handle this?
Yeah. And challenge yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you know, on that too, to start to show up as that. Once you figured out what that looks like, challenge yourself to start, like you said, we only have the present moment. Start showing up as that person right now. Like decide.
Do that thing that you've always wanted to do. Now you're going to have some time.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it this way. Like if you've been wanting to get in shape, dude, pop on a workout video on YouTube or Netflix or whatever and
Mm-hmm.
get with it. You got time now. You can't use that as an excuse anymore. It doesn't take money to work out. You
No.
can work out
Move your
right at
body.
home,
Mm-mm.
move your body, get in shape. Maybe it's time to clean out that junk room that you have, that you're, that all that your catch-all room where there's all this crap that needs to be gone through, right? Like if you get
Mm-hmm.
some free time, now might be the time to do that.
Yeah.
Instead of just it's not going to help anybody to sit and dwell about what just happened or
Mm-hmm.
what is about to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
let's just do something that we can control, which is cleaning out some junk, right?
Yeah.
Literally
Yeah.
and figuratively.
Yeah.
Clean out some junk by getting busy, like we talked last week. But
Uh-huh.
um,
Yeah. On
what
like
else? Yeah.
what's the best thing I can do in this moment for myself, for my family, for the people around me? How can I demonstrate something better than fear, right? Like for myself, because we talk about this in high performance coaching where, we've chosen words for myself. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, one of the things on my board, is my interactions with other people. And one of them is play. And so I'm really digging into that. That's helping keep me solid because that's another word, of mine for myself personally and how I want to show up in the world as a solid person. But play right now is a big
Mm-hmm.
thing. So how can I play more, with the people around me, bring humor, right now, and it's not insensitive. It's the things that we can control, right? And again, are you going to like sit yourself in front of the TV or on front of your phone? I hope you're watching us right now and taking something away from this. I hope we showed up in your social media if you are watching social media. But if it is fear, if it is out of your control, because you can't control like what's already happened, right? Like when the chaos is here, when the shit has hit the fan, like it's here. But now what do you do? And so I think people's true colors will come through in all of this. And so like I'm inviting everybody to step up.
It could be a readjustment thing too. I mean, some people, if you've been really miserable in your job, like now is the perfect time. If you get laid off, like, okay, what do
Mm-hmm.
I want to do? Like ask yourself some, you know, uh, ask yourself a better question. And,
Mm-hmm.
but I also saw a post on one of the social medias that I thought was good. And it's like, and 2 months from now, everybody's going to love their job. They're going to love
Mm.
standing in line at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to love all
Yeah.
these little things that we take for granted. Once
Yes.
they get taken away, then we realize just how lucky we were. And
Yeah.
not only that, the people that you work with or the people you go to school with, like you're going
Mm-hmm.
to miss those people, you know?
Yeah.
So it's, it might be a good time to give thanks for how much we do have and just be grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. Dig into gratitude at this time, right? I mean, instead of the fear, what are you grateful for that maybe you don't have at this very moment? However, we've had it before and we'll have it again, and so how can you come out of this with even more gratitude? So I love that point so much. Awesome. Awesome.
So if you had a lot more courage, like a ton more courage, um, like a magic fairy came in and just said boom, and hit you with 10 times the courage you currently have, you really should consider if courage, if I don't have any fears or anxiety or worry around anything.
Mm-hmm.
um, Two things: what would you stop doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
and then what would you start doing?
Yeah. So you're asking me like directly?
You could answer directly, but I
Yeah.
want the
Want the
listeners
audience,
to,
of
yeah,
course.
to
Yes.
definitely think about that.
Yeah. Like what would you stop doing? And then what would you start doing?
Hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love that question. So, one of the things as coaches that we like require, is to break out a journal, like start writing, right? We've talked about this, how reflection and writing and thinking things through and discussion, like it helps you get more awareness in life. So I love these questions that you're giving everybody. Like clap clap for Coach Kelly. Love
So,
that.
so let's get into the, when it comes to courage, the bottom line is we are, there's three things that we fear in our lives. And that is, the first fear is lost pain,
Mm-hmm.
which means that by changing or advancing in our lives that we're going to lose something important to us.
Mm-hmm.
The second we fear is the process pain, which
Mm-hmm.
is that the mere act or the process of changing will be too hard to get through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and the third fear is just the outcome pain. What if all this change happens
Mm-hmm.
and the grass is still not greener?
Yeah.
So one of those three things is what keeps us and holds us back from doing anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes on the loss pain of it, that's where the fear is coming up. And this is where courage steps in, is we don't always have a choice on the loss pain,
Yeah. Like
unfortunately.
right now. Like right now.
Yeah.
What's happening. And I think it's amplified right now, right?
Hmm.
Because I feel like that pain, we're feeling those three types of pain. The loss pain. A lot of people are going through some loss right now.
Hmm.
You know, the process pain, which is we got to buckle down, we got to get through this, what's coming next, which is the outcome pain of everything is like you shared in the beginning. um Uncertainty is part of that fear. And I think this taps into that, what you're talking about right now, that taps into this uncertainty that we have.
Hmm. So think of a change that you may have been avoiding, um, or something that you've been dreaming about but you just not moved towards.
Mm-hmm.
And first write that down, journal it. What is that thing that you've been
Mm-hmm.
wanting to do and you just haven't taken a step towards doing it because there's some kind of a fear wrapped around that?
Mm-hmm.
Because just by getting it out on paper, it's going to help you kind of change your perspective on it, be able to see it from some different angles.
Yeah.
And that's why we're going to ask a few questions here that you should write down and find out, so you can get to the bottom of this. What's stopping you? What's
Mm-hmm.
stopping you from doing what you want to do? So the first question, or statement is like, I this is you talking to yourself, I guess. So I haven't changed or chased my dreams with more courage and commitment because I'm afraid that I might lose blank.
Yeah.
What are you afraid of losing?
Yeah. So I know there's people here, like you said, that they've wanted to leave their job, and then now it's like the
Yeah.
job has laid them off, and then
Yeah.
they're upset about that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, why haven't, maybe like the fear was losing the income, right? I think from that perspective is the fear losing the income? Well, now it's gone. Now the thing that you feared is now
Hmm.
here. So how do you handle it? How do you handle it? Now the universe has made the choice for you. If you're one of those people, right? If you fall into that category,
Sure.
the
Yeah.
universe has made the choice for you. And so now what's the next steps? And I think people respond sometimes, and we've all been there, right? So when I say people, I talk about myself as well. Where you immediately go into, a lot of people we go into protection mode. Like we're not even thinking, like you just respond right out of survival. And people think I just gotta, yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta pay the bills and stuff like that. But sometimes like we can overprotect and miss that opportunity, you know. um so if the opportunity's here to actually do that thing that you want to do, let's have the courage to start taking the steps. And what are those steps that need to happen to make this dream of yours or the next job or whatever? How can you start preparing for that thing that you've always wanted to do, to start preparing for that now and taking some action, right? Stepping up and having the courage to do it, because now it's not a choice anymore.
Yeah, now you have time to do it. So if you find that you find yourself still avoiding that, then I would go back to the drawing board and say, is this what I really want?
Yeah.
Because if it's truly a value of yours and that's what you really want in your life, then there's no reason for you to start going towards that. If you get, if you're, if an event happens to you where you cannot go to
Mm-hmm.
work and you have all this free time on your hand now, what, like a lot of people will have. And if that happens, then,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen even in our business, because they're
Mm-hmm.
talking about, quite possibly, I'm not concerned about it, honestly,
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
I can't do anything about it. So,
Yeah.
but if they shut down supply houses, then I can't get
Mm-hmm.
material and equipment, then
Mm-hmm.
I can't hardly operate the business. We can do service calls, but
Yeah.
we can't make any big ticket sales if I can't purchase equipment.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really difficult to operate off of if that happens. But that's a big if. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to do me any good to live in the future and
Yeah.
wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Um, on the other hand, we are trying to at least have the conversation, like what we are going to do to continue
Yeah.
the day-to-day
Mm-hmm.
operations. I don't think it's
Mm-hmm.
where we can't just bury our heads in the sands.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so
So I
I
think
guess what
like
I'm
what
getting
we're,
at, yeah, you get
yeah,
what I'm getting at is,
yeah, I get where you're getting at, and I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. Is like, two is like, are you adjusting? Are you adjusting to what's happening right now, and how are you doing it? Are you doing it um, in a way that's panicking, or are you doing it from a place of like, where you're solid and you're emotionally solid and you're making decisions, right, that are right for you and your family and everything? Because the last thing we need are a bunch of people out there just panicking. Like, no, like actually think through, what's the plan? How do I adjust? What's my new normal right now, even if it's temporary? And plan, definitely, again, just like have
mm-hmm,
concern, definitely plan. But I think this is, you know people who have the courage is like, yeah, you're like looking at the thing, you're not burying your head in the sand, you're looking at it, you're saying, okay, it's here, let's have some concern, let's address it, and take the proper actions toward that.
yeah. So if you were able to just overcome this fear or anxiety and have the courage to take action and do that thing that you've always been wanting to do, if you find
Mm-hmm.
yourself in a position, even if you don't find yourself in a position, I would challenge you,
Mm-hmm.
that you have
Mm-hmm.
some time to actually start chasing your dreams again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't act like your schedule is so busy that you can't squeeze out 1 or 2 hours of work toward designing the life that you want to create.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
And there's some
mhm,
awareness here. There
mhm,
really is. Like, I sit and I like listen to the universe, and I listen to what is actually being said. Like, what is being said? Like, what is the planet telling us? Whatever's happening, why, it's here. And so, it's like where things have shut down and some people are, closing earlier and those kinds of things, is like, you know could this be a great thing? It's like, have we overworked out there in our planet to where, now people, again, we're spending more time with the family? Why are we resisting that? Like, I think that's actually a good thing,
mhm.
that people have, more time at home, more time on their hands, again, to address the things and pay attention to the things. Again, you talked about values that are important to us. Take care of your health. Now, could you take care of your health now have a conversation that you've been needing to have, that you've been avoiding, whether, it's with your spouse or someone else. Now you've
Could
got
be,
the
it
time.
could all, yeah, it could also be about your spending habits.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, let's be
Consumption,
honest.
consumption.
You've got to,
Hmm.
the bottom line is if you don't want to be a complete, um, I don't know what the word, because I don't want to say the wrong word, but if you don't want to be like feeling trapped in
Hmm.
payments all the time and everything, like if you want to break that cycle, you have to,
Hmm.
I mean, the number one thing to wealth building of any kind is spend less than spend less than you earn,
Yeah.
period. Like you got to spend
Yeah.
less than you make. That's
Hmm.
the number one step. So this could be a wake up call to people
Waking,
who have been just
awakening. Hmm.
scraping by. And I get it. Like if this would be a pretty rude awakening for some of you, for some people out there, if you have just not been paying attention to your money whatsoever. Um,
Hmm.
but just know that whatever the pain is that you're feeling right now from this, that let that fuel your fire. Like, I'm not going to feel this pain
Yeah.
again. I'm not going to
Hmm.
have this uncertainty again.
Hmm.
I'm not going to live without feeling in control again.
Yeah.
And when things straighten back up, like, you've got to continue that mindset. If it's
Hmm.
really important to you, you will, and you'll do the things necessary to not have to feel this, all this, so much loss of control. So,
Yeah. So much fear, so much
mhm.
pain. Yeah, absolutely.
But
And I
I
want
love
to,
what you said real
yeah,
quick, is that we think about the negative things of all these things, but what about, like, how is your life going to improve to the you know to the positive side
yeah.
with everything that's happened? If you find yourself not being able to work and not being able to collect a paycheck, like, how what's the positive side of that? Like, you have to look at things this way. There's always an equal.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's the other side of pain, right? And what I was gonna say was, are you gonna let this lesson go to waste, or whatever's here, right? Awakening all of us, saying, hold up, whatever it is, because it could be something different for all of us, going through this pain and struggle, you know and I because what I found too is, once the pain's gone, we go back to just doing whatever it was before this happened, or that thing happened, or that, you know whatever we've been through in life. So it's like, are you going to let this lesson, this awareness, this awakening go to waste? Or are you going to make some courageous decisions in this moment, whether it's to, you know, change your spending habits again, like you said, change the way you take care of the planet, change the amount of time you're spending with your children and your spouse, or even spending on yourself to take care of yourself. So, whatever the lesson is, or the awakening is for each of us individually, you know, my challenge to everybody is, don't let this lesson go to waste. Once we get to the outcome, and it has passed, because this too shall pass, will you continue to be courageous and keep with these, difficult decisions or awakenings, or whatever you want to call it, that you've now come to the awareness of? And I say, don't let it go to waste, you know?
Yeah, you can't just return back to the way it was if you decide to make a change.
Yeah. And I've done that before.
Sure.
I've
Yep.
done that before, where it's like, um, okay, the pain's here. Oh, I'm feeling it again. You get through the pain, and then you just go back to what you were doing. And it's like, no,
I
you
want to
know,
talk about the money thing for just a little bit, because money was a big thing for us, me and my wife. And
Mhm.
um, I'm not going to blame it all on her and say that she was the only one spending money. Of Yes, I
Mhm.
was spending money too. The reality is money was not a value of ours, and it wasn't a priority.
Got
And
it. Mhm.
as soon as you decide to just start making money a priority, and and having ensuring that you value it, and you
Mhm.
place value upon it, and
Mhm.
place your attention upon it,
Yeah.
then that's when things can change.
Yeah.
That's when you start paying attention to money, money starts paying attention to you.
Yeah.
And I am by no means like well off, or like
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
you got to also understand what a bad position we were in financially. Like
Yeah.
my credit was shit. I had literally like, I don't gosh, probably 27 doctor bills to
Okay.
pay.
Mhm.
We probably had subscriptions to like 4 different magazines.
Okay.
We had I mean, just little incremental things that we did get away from us, right? And
They
it's
do.
even harder now
Absolutely. We've
because,
been
like,
there. Yeah.
with all the streaming stuff, it's like, let's just go ahead and get Hulu. Okay, let's add Netflix. Oh,
Mhm.
let's now we're Amazon Prime members. Let's get Amazon Prime. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, it's just
Mhm.
the nickel. It adds up. It adds up. So really, when you look into your finances, find out, what am I not using? If you're not using that stuff, like, shut it off.
Mhm.
Stop paying money for it.
Yeah. Like, is it part of your values?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Is it
Yeah.
more important for you to be able to watch the next series that comes out for Hulu? I mean, this sounds ridiculous, but it could be this simple. Is that more important to you, to have, 5 different streaming things that you pay for a month, that pretty
Yeah.
much all of them have a bunch of the same crap on them? Like, is that
Mhm.
more important, or is your peace of mind and your not living paycheck to paycheck, and your worry, like the worry about not being able to pay the bills,
Mhm.
when could, because unexpected things happen in life. It's just a reality, whether it's a
Mhm.
doctor visit, or a scrape, or an accident, or like,
Mhm.
things happen and unexpected expenses pop up all the time. And just to have the money to do that, have an emergency fund set aside just to take care of
Yeah.
the little expenses. Once you
Mhm.
do that, I've like, we found that you stop having so many emergencies. But you got to have
Yeah.
that set aside, because until then, you'll continue having
Mhm.
emergencies. So money is just a big thing. We may like do an episode on money sometime.
Yeah.
This might not be it, but there's so much that I could share with you about what we did on our journey back to um, a healthy credit score,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
it's a long
No,
journey. It's a long journey, but it's
it's a
possible.
process,
It's a
right? So
process.
going
Yep.
back to the pain, so there might be, as your address, because again, I think that's a absolutely magnificent topic, money, and a lot of people, sometimes don't want to talk about it. But the thing is like, maybe that's one of the things you need to address, right? While you're having these 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
off or whatever it turns out to be, you know, is like, and there's pain in the process, because like you, Kelly, we've had to do it before, and
Mm-hmm.
then had to do it again, in our business. And and so it's like, is there process pain involved? Absolutely. Because I'm not a beat around the bush type of person. Like, when you step up and you have the courage to address things, you gotta first like pull yourself up and your head out the sand. You know what I mean? Get up here, girl. Like, we're gonna pay attention to this right now, because it's causing so much pain. And sometimes it takes, you know um you know sometimes it takes pain for us to, you know do the pain of the thing that we need to address. Because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
do you want the pain of not having money anymore, or do you want the pain of the process pain, which is I'm going to have to spend, you know, months,
I'm going to have to
years.
sacrifice.
I'm going to have to sacrifice some
Mm-hmm.
time in my evening to actually go through my statements, take a look at these things. And yes, there's going to be process pain with that, but look at the outcome of things. And it can turn around, you know, because I've been down this road as well, like with you, Kelly, to fix credit, to fix debt, all of that. And the outcome, you know, it's better on the other side. You know, when you look at these things, when you have the courage to address these things that you may be having, yeah, experiencing some pain, because I'm grateful we had this conversation. I'm grateful that because of what I've done, you know, over the past, you know, 5 or 6 years, because of how I've addressed my life differently when I had enough pain, because I addressed my life differently, um, you know, my position now is, you know, a lot better off than some people who are struggling, you know, in this moment. Like I have options that other people don't have, and you can also get there. You know, I want everybody to know that it is possible to get there and not be in that same situation, you know, a year from now. But
Yeah. And
but you got to have the courage to do something about it.
mm-hmm. And if you're not in the position to do anything about it right now, well, at least now's
Mm-hmm.
the time to plan and make
Mm-hmm.
sure that you start doing something about it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I did want to say is that no matter what happens, whether you lose your whether if you know if there is a job loss,
Mm-hmm.
or just slow down and you don't get the same hours that you used to get, whatever it is, to no matter what, make those payments. If you owe the bank anything, you've got a loan on a car, loan on a
Mm-hmm.
house, anything that has to do with your credit cards, make
Mm-hmm.
those payments no matter what.
Communicate as well is something that I'd say on this one too, because sometimes it just takes a little bit of communication with people, and that might be one of the things that people um you know, need help or need some courage to do, is to make that phone call like you talked about, where it was a client you had to make a phone call to, but they create it so big in their mind or so scary. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been there too, you know, where you might feel embarrassed to make that phone call to say, you know, I can't pay today. You know, I literally have to choose food, you know, over this payment right now that I owe. And that's okay. Like a lot of us have been there, you know. And so the courage to communicate, that's a big one too. So I'd kind of want to ask people, you know, what's a bold leap you can make today from the conversations that we're having? You know, whether it's about money, finding a new job, starting that new thing, addressing your 100 pounds that needs to come off of your body, you know. And some, yeah, like it may not sound nice, right? But again, Kelly and I are not here to be your friend, although we maybe would like if you'd like us, you know. But
Yeah.
address some shit. Like it's time, right? The time was then, the time was, you know, when the pain was coming up for you. Not to let it, not to bury your head in the sand and keep letting it get worse, and letting your health get worse, and letting your money get worse, and, you know, letting the relationship go down the drain because you don't want to have a conversation. The time to address is now. And so I love the topic of courage. This is a huge habit that everybody needs to get into the rhythm of having, asking themselves on a regular basis, what haven't I addressed? What needs my bold action right now? Even if it's a phone call, please, like I said in the beginning, when Kelly asked me about what does courage mean to me, I said one of the things is courage is, can be a small thing. It could be a phone call. I understand how hard these things can be, but let's put a move on it. You know, right now, you've got the time. You know, if you're sitting at home, address what needs to be addressed. Plain and simple.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, if there's anyone in your life who you feel that you need to be more honest with or haven't been honest with, like, now's the time to show them what your true
Mm-hmm.
feelings are. Just have those conversations, gain the
Mm-hmm.
courage to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be better off for it. You'll thank us for it.
Yeah,
You will thank us for it once you
you
have the
will. Mm-hmm.
conversation, and you can move on. It's all about moving forward. So,
Absolutely. Get up, put one
yep.
foot in front of the other, have the faith, right? Like, eh, get rid of the fear. I understand, have concern, but what's the dominating, feeling in your life right now? Is it fear or is it faith? Is it fear? Is it courage? What's the dominating feeling? And how do you want to show up? Do you want to put your head in the sand? I don't think none of us want to do that. Like that just brings down your self-esteem, right? So taking action is what's going to help you feel more bold. Take more action, continue to do what you need to do. You're going to get some momentum because, man, tell me, Kelly, like in your life when you've taken a step, like you said last week, when you start to take action, what happens when you start to demonstrate more courage? What has happened for you?
What is what has happened is that there was a challenge of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one thing. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know why we wait until we're challenged to actually go after what we should be
Mm-hmm.
doing or what we actually want, but it just
Mm-hmm.
tends to be how we operate. So I was challenged, and then what happens is when you take action and start actually moving towards what you actually want instead of dwelling in what you don't have or what you don't want,
Yeah.
then the mind stops dwelling on that stuff, for one, which it makes you happy, it makes you healthier
Mm-hmm.
because you're happier. And number two, you begin to see the opportunities and the possibilities again, where if you're in that spot where you're having a hard time seeing that, like, you're never going to see it if you don't move forward and get out of that spot.
Mm-hmm.
So it allows you the opportunity to see opportunity again, and
Mm-hmm.
start becoming aware of your of the things that are available to you right now. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
Love that. And if you have been like burying your head in the sand, no, like Kelly says, why do we wait so long? It's okay. You're not alone, right? We've all buried our head in the sand at one point or another. And it's just the human condition is what I have called it, in the past. So don't
Mm-hmm.
beat yourself up for it. Just know that you have the choice. And me and Kelly, we're giving you permission to go handle that shit. So go handle it. Thank you for being on this episode 2 where we talked about courage. Give us a comment below. Let us know how this amplified your life. Tell us what you took
Yeah.
away from it. Yeah.
Be sure to like the podcast, whether it's on YouTube or eventually it will be on the podcast apps. Be sure to comment and subscribe and share it with your friends and family. There's got to be somebody. I think everybody needs to hear this conversation at this point right now in what's happening in our world. So last but not least, I would I'm going to start leaving you with a question at the end of each podcast, and that question is, what do you need now to get to the next level?
Yes.
Keep asking yourself that question always. And that doesn't matter whether it is your finances. We spent some time talking about that today. Whether it is your courage. We spent lots of time talking about that today. Whether it's your productivity or your family life or your relationship or your kids or your career. What do you need now to get to the next level of that? Or your fitness?
Mm-hmm.
Think about that,
So many
guys.
areas we can
Yeah.
address. Yeah. Love it.
Thanks for joining us, and I guess we'll let you go.
Yeah. Get amplified. See you later, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.